In this video, I'm going to share a clip of one of my favorite parts of one of my recent interviews with Lynette Zang. We combined for over 2 million views on our interviews. She's a very incredible gold and macroeconomic researcher that has incredible information on the currency reset, on the inflationary depression that we find ourselves in. And so without further ado, I'm going to play one of my favorite clips right now. But first, Lynette and her team at ITM Trading, what they do is they help people build true wealth strategies. Because what happens during these types of monetary resets and currency debasements is people end up losing all their purchasing power, all the money they've saved, they work for, the wealth they built. And Lynette and her team specialize in building wealth strategies. And so right there down below in the description and pinned to the comments, Lynette and her team are going to do complimentary wealth strategy sessions for our audience here. And so right there down below, you can sign up for your wealth strategy session with Lynette and her team. Make sure you hit the like button on this video right over there or right over there to send this out into the YouTube universe. Comment down below, Lynette rules, and make sure you sign up for your wealth strategy call right there down below.
But I am saying that in the end, it's the consumer that pays for whatever happened. It's the consumer that ends up paying. So there is no such thing as a free lunch. Give people lots of money to spend, and they'll go out and spend it. And that's what will push us into hyperinflation.
So a couple interesting things there, and we'll get into a little bit more into inflation and, the ways the average person experiences it, which, as you said, is energy and food primarily. But let's go first to, do you think, one thing I wonder is, I think these people controlling the economic levers, I don't think they're stupid. I think they know the consequences of this. They're just going to keep doing it. So I wonder, will they actually do a UBI knowing that this could really drive inflation? So what are your thoughts on this kind of, you talked about, we may get to a point where reoccurring payments and just money continuing to flow out the spigot. Do you think they'll do this? And do you think that they're aware of what the cause would be if the money starts getting into everyone's hands?
100%. 100%. Number one, they have to. They have a limited set of tools. Interest rates are a key tool, so you got to pay attention to interest rates. So there are limitations there. I mean, they've tested negative rates. Not that we're definitely going to negative rates. There's not one little doubt in my mind. But if you're a consumer-driven economy, you have to have enough consumers to consume.
Yeah.
So they've got to do UBI. They 100% have to do. I really thought that they would have done it last year. I can't tell you what the time frame is. Timing's always, I can tell you what's most likely to happen. I just can't tell you it'll be Tuesday morning at 8:35. But if it was Tuesday morning at 8:35, I will be as surprised as everybody else, but not shocked. Okay.
Right.
So yes, 100%. They have to do it because it's not like they're creating new jobs. Mm-hmm. We have just been experiencing massive job disruption and destruction because the mom and pops employed about 50% of the population. And so many of them died during this whole COVID thing, and they're not coming back. And that means those jobs aren't coming back. So, and the new system that we're transitioning into, that lovely digital system, does not require the same level of labor. It requires more education, but it just doesn't require the same level. I mean, you've got an autonomous driving car. Do you really need all those drivers? No.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I wonder a lot about is how close are they to bringing out the robots that the masses don't really realize what's, taking place. And if they can replace 10% of the workforce then what happens? And so, that's another interesting subject that kind of leads to the necessity of them kind of giving people money direct. But give me your crystal ball here, right? So what do you kind of see unfolding here over the next while, right? There's also, I would imagine maybe they resort to an infrastructure bill too, because they, to go give people some jobs. So maybe we get some money from that. But give me your whole crystal ball on how you see 2021 and 2022 unfolding, because it's certainly kind of uncharted waters.
Well, for one thing, just watching what's happening in the physical and digital silver market, that could definitely push everything over. I mean, I definitely, especially if more and more entities stand for delivery of the silver, so it can break the back of the bullion banks, no doubt about it. In which case, everything that I'm about to say is sped up a lot, because that would be a major disruption. But I think 2021 and 2022, aside from that, extremely fascinating years, because remember that we have about 640 trillion in notional value, which means nobody really knows the value at risk, of those derivative contracts that have to transition to that brand new system that was created and they couldn't get us to adopt. And all of that was supposed to be completed by the end of this year. But when they ran the test in October on 80 trillion of it, shortly thereafter, they came in and said, well, we're going to do this little teeny piece over here that's not relevant, but the big chunk of it, we're postponing till 2023. So that means that they have a lot of work to do this year, next year. Do I think they can do it? No, I do not. It's a big fat experiment. And as brilliant as some of those guys are, they're not stronger than Mother Nature. And the real key in here for timing is going to be on public confidence, which is one of the reasons why I think UBI will come in sooner than later, because that will keep the masses quiet. If all of a sudden, they're having trouble paying their rent and they get a check for $4,000 a month, and now they can pay their rent, at least for the moment, because rents are going to go up from there. But at least for the moment, that will quiet the masses if they can feed their families, if they can pay their rent and keep a roof over their families' heads. But it won't last, and it won't work indefinitely, because that's when the hyperinflation will start. So I think, and it may have already begun. I can't tell you that. I'm not 100% there, because I'm looking at the monetary velocity, how quickly money changes hands, which is an indication of how confident that I'm going to have more money coming in. And so therefore, I'm more willing to go out and spend it on things. And it has had a recent spike, but it needs to be pervasive. Along from 97, that's really when we had peak monetary velocity. And that also means taking on debt was actually economically stimulative, but it hasn't been since 97. So it's not that any of this is new. The point is that we are at the end. And I don't think the currency lasts through 2023. I don't think so. I'm hoping that I really am. I'm hoping that they can keep this game going, because when they can't, it's going to be extraordinarily painful for most people. Food is the single biggest issue for people. So that's why I have my gardens. I mean, you're seeing stuff from the gardens. I've got cabbage leaves and chamomile, and these are peaches. I couldn't believe she picked my peaches because they're so yummy. Like, you picked my peaches. She's like, you'll have plenty of peaches. But, I know I'm going to be able to eat. And I know I'm going to be able to feed a lot of people, but I can't, if I could, I'd feed the world, honestly, but I can't quite manage to do that. So we all need to really recognize where we're at risk and where we are vulnerable and put ourselves in a position, get rid of that risk. If it's food insecurity, if it's wealth preservation, if it's, and coming together as a community, which is the way I view our work together, is creating and building that community. We have to help each other. We have to stand up and we have to come together and be stronger than we would be all on our own.
So thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you hit the like button right over there to send it out into the YouTube universe. Hit that subscribe and bell notification. And if you haven't yet, make sure you sign up for a wealth strategy call with Lynette and her team, which is right there down below. They'll help you build and also find the blind spots in your wealth strategy during this time and this monetary upheaval of currency reset, currency debasement. And so right there down below in the description and pinned to the comments, you can sign up to get your complimentary wealth strategy call with Lynette and her team. Hey, let me know if you enjoyed this video with a comment right there down below. Thank you for watching, whether you're new or a returner, and we'll see you next time.